Hello, everyone. So nice to see you this morning, and I'm pleased to be joining you virtually from Minnesota. Today, I've been asked to introduce our cluster development discussion. Almost 3 years ago, you all initiated your ground game, that basic transaction to find, engage, and develop your entrepreneurs. And through your journey, you are fine-tuning your practice of this engagement. And I bet through this process, you may be noticing signs of cluster development. Economic clusters of local concentrations with similar or complementary industries. Clusters can include aggregation of production and goods, services, talent, and tech, and serve as beacons for communities to attract further inbound investment, industry, and innovation. Through cluster development, we are optimizing these concentrations, and we're targeting our basic transaction strategies to grow high-performing communities. So let's have a little fun. Please look in front of you. You should all have what we typically call a peanut cluster. And while this might seem, and don't eat it yet, and while this might seem like a real simple and maybe even a silly analogy, what comes to mind when you think of a peanut cluster? Well, you might think of chocolate, you might think of caramel, and of course, the peanuts. However, together, there is a synergy and a bite-sized morsel of a cluster of candy ingredients rolled into one. And in some ways, this is very similar to how cluster development operates. We are creating opportunities to build synergy within our communities that are showing up through the entrepreneurs who are creating initiatives which lead us to certain organic opportunities to begin what we call a clusterization model. Much of what you toured in Red Cloud. So as you traveled through Red Cloud, what did you notice? What did you see show up in the skill sets of the people and the interconnections of the companies? So let's ask ourselves, what is a business cluster? What are cluster economic opportunities? Well, the Brookings Institute defines a business cluster as a geographic concentration of interconnected businesses, suppliers, associations, and institutions in a particular field. And clusters are considered to increase the productivity with which companies can compete nationally and globally. Through the community theory of change model, cluster development enables us to become proactive and planful in our approach to how we build out employee skills, community infrastructure, our suppliers, distribution models, even as far as the transportation. With a deeper understanding of our entrepreneur-led needs, we can create and support our communities with targeted resources to build cluster development. And this results in increased entrepreneurial behavior. Cluster development strategies might be tourism, it might be hospitality, it might be manufacturing, it could be technology, and it might even be building a bedroom community with amenities to support that environment. And keep in mind, some of these industry sectors can cross-pollinate so that skill sets are transferable across industry sectors. But the important thing is that we're looking for our sweet spots. We're looking for clusters that allow us to seed businesses and can begin to build out and bridge the opportunities for success for those entrepreneurs who are choosing to live and work in our communities. At the end of the day, we are increasing our competitiveness. We're increasing the value of our businesses, and we're building strong, resilient prosperity. And what is exciting is that at the end of the day, we're building opportunities for people to give back, what we call community development philanthropy. E-cluster development is happening in our area in Red Cloud through tourism associated with Catherland and the new resident attraction rooted in its bedroom community potential associated with Hastings. If you recall in our travels from previous places through E3, Keith County has unique e-cluster development opportunities, such as tourism associated with Big Mac, the transportation corridor with Ogallala's I-80 interchange, Ogallala's downtown, and their healthcare. In Sydney, we continue to see cluster development through their transportation corridor, especially with the I-80 interchange. Their growth entrepreneurs associated with the former Cabela employees, entrepreneurship is adding strong cluster development there, and you can see it in the skill sets of these individuals who came out of corporate and now are able to apply their knowledge to business opportunities. That's a cluster. Other services in Valley County, a couple of cluster development opportunities come to mind, including being a hub city with healthcare downtown and the Husk Cultural Center, and also the tourism associated with the Calamus Reservoir and the Calamus River. In Holt County, the transportation corridor associated with US Highways 281 to 75 and 20, there are a ton of cluster/hub opportunities that are present. In conclusion, there are a few questions I would encourage you to ask yourself and build intentional conversations around to support and reflect your journey towards cluster development. So what are your sweet spots? Ask yourself that. Where is your community excelling in your economic development cluster focus? And where do you notice you have the greatest potential to grow? And finally, are they, the people in your community, noticing the difference the cluster development is or could be making in your town? So with that, I wish you all the best in your final days here in your gathering. And Anders, I send it over to you.